Something is being caught on camera, and people aren't sure what they're looking at. Whether it's eerie humanoids or creeping entities. These paranormal videos have people running scared. So put on your shoes and let's begin. A traffic inspector was patrolling the Autovia motorway in Spain when he received a strange call from a road camera monitoring officer. The officer asked him who was sitting beside him in the passenger seat. Confused, the driver replied that he was completely alone, but curiously turned his head to check, but no one was there. Later, when he reviewed his dashcam footage, he was left in shock because a terrifying female figure with glowing eyes was clearly sitting beside him. To this day, he has no idea who or what that figure was. Strange footage. At first, the clip seemed harmless, a light-hearted recording between friends. One man held the camera while his friend moved casually in front of it, but when he watched the footage later, something was off. On video, her face looked pale, even though she had seemed fine in person. Her eyes appeared unusually dark, and her movements didn't feel natural. That simple clip, meant to be fun, carried an uncomfortable, almost eerie vibe. Was it just a trick of the camera, or was there something deeper at play? Something he had never noticed? Let me know in the comments below. Stair crawler. A boy filmed in an old house located in Bear, Vermont, when he saw something at the bottom of the stairs, a figure standing still. He called out, but no one answered. Its head tilted in a weird, unnatural way, and then a scream erupted. That mysterious entity. A CCTV camera outside a house captured a strange moment. From the bushes, a figure stepped out, with long white hair and wide, dark eyes that seemed to pierce the night. Its nails were unusually long, and the way it knocked on the door felt wrong. The movement wasn't natural. It didn't act like a normal person. Anyone watching could feel the tension building, wondering what it really could be. The cameraman said she looked normal in real life, but on video, she was completely different. A pale face, strange eyes, and unnatural motion made the clip feel otherworldly. Terrifying chase. A disturbing incident was reported by a woman living in Tana, Madagascar, who claimed she was chased through the street by a strange entity late at night. When the CCTV footage was later reviewed, everyone was left stunned. The video showed a creepy figure with messy hair and sunken eyes moving in a low, crouched position. Suddenly, it dropped to the ground, letting out eerie sounds before vanishing into thin air. The unexplained encounter spread fear throughout the entire village. Roadside encounter. Car was rolling down a quiet road at night when the driver noticed something strange. A pale figure was running beside them, moving way faster than anyone could. Its faintly glowing eyes locked on the car for a moment, almost like it was trying to catch up. Everyone in the vehicle froze, unsure if it was human or something else. Then, in an instant, it vanished into the darkness, leaving them stunned and shaken. No one could explain what they had just seen. Eerie stranger. A villager was walking home along a street rumored to be haunted when he looked up and froze. A woman sat on a rooftop, watching him. There was something immediately wrong about her. The color of her skin, the way her eyes seemed to follow him, and the strange expression on her face. No one in the neighborhood recognized her, and no one could match her description. The sight made him realize that the ghost stories about the street might not be stories at all. Night visitor. Long after midnight, a terrace camera captured something strange. A young woman appeared and slowly walked across the space, the soft jingling of an anklet breaking the night's quiet. She didn't leave. Instead, she paced back and forth for hours, as if caught in a repeating routine. Locals later shared their own theories, saying she seemed far from ordinary. Whatever she was, the footage looked so real that people online couldn't stop debating it. The empty house. He stepped inside an old house that seemed empty. Slowly, he walked through the quiet rooms with his camera. That's when he saw them. 2 young girls, standing completely still, not moving, not blinking. When he looked away for a second and then looked back, they were gone. Heart racing, he ran. The house didn't feel empty anymore. It felt alive in the wrong way, like it had been watching him the whole time. Creepy footage. This is the creepiest video on my list today, and you'll be shocked to see what happens near the end. A strange, deformed creature was seen walking out of an abandoned location and seemed disturbed. The creepy creature had a large head with long black hair falling down on its shoulders. Its skin was also gray in color, like it was deceased, and had woken up after thousands of years. This tall, slim creature walked strangely, and then it began to levitate. But before the creature flew away, it looked directly at the camera, as if it was looking at us. Horror inside factory. An explorer and his friends entered an abandoned factory and immediately felt a sense of unease. As he looked up, he saw atop a massive, rusted tank was a woman, unnaturally pale, staring down at them. Panic surged through him, but the terror wasn't over. When he swung his flashlight to the side, a man's face suddenly appeared right beside him, startling him so badly he almost dropped the light. He spun it around again, but the figure had vanished. Scary close encounter.
Encore qui habite ici?
A paranormal investigator entered an abandoned house in Suzdal, Russia, hoping to capture something unusual on camera. He heard strange sounds coming from the basement and cautiously began walking down the stairs. Suddenly, a horrifying creature peeked out from behind a wall. It had glowing eyes, weathered skin, and torn clothes. Without warning, it leapt toward the investigator. The camera fell to the ground, and the man ran away. Sidewalk encounter. A girl stood alone by the sidewalk, silently watching anyone who came near. As a man walked past, she didn't speak, just stared. Her eyes darkened, her smile vanished, and something about her didn't feel normal. He walked away, but the encounter left a chilling sense that he had narrowly passed something unnatural. Munster Mystery. On 23rd of August, back in 2007, in Munster, Ireland, two girls were at a comedy show and decided to record the moment. While filming, one of them noticed movement near the door, a presence that seemed to be quietly watching them. Their eyes followed it, and they saw a figure standing on the first floor. Moments later, it appeared to vanish and reappear on the second floor almost instantly, like it had teleported. The sight unsettled them deeply, and their family eventually left the house, unable to shake what they had seen. Even years later, the memory raised more questions than answered. Abandoned building. Two men were exploring an abandoned building when something caught their attention. At the front of the crumbling structure, a girl-like figure moved in a way that didn't feel right. Her movements were jerky, her posture unnatural, and her face looked wrong. Every step she took made the air feel tense and heavy. Fear gripped the men, and without thinking, they ran, leaving the figure behind. The encounter lasted only moments, but it was enough to scare them and anyone who hears the story forever. Creepy witch. In Glasgow, Scotland, a man was watching his favorite TV show when the lights suddenly went out. He grabbed a flashlight and went to check the breakers. As he passed a mirror, his heart nearly stopped. A strange figure was watching itself in the mirror. It had messy black hair, a pale face, and a neck twisted at an unnatural angle. Terrified, the man ran from the room, but the figure was no longer in the mirror. It was standing right in front of him. The figure leapt toward him, and the video ended, so it's not clear what happened next. Real or just a shadow? A young vlogger filmed alone on an empty bridge at dusk. In the background, a shape appeared. A figure with long hair, standing perfectly still. For a moment, it looked real. She aimed her flashlight, and it turned out to be just bushes. But those few seconds were enough. It looked alive. It moved like a person might move. Shadows and light played tricks that left her, and anyone watching, questioning what they'd really seen. Was it real, or just a shadow? I am leaving it for you to decide. Don't come closer. A man was heading home late at night after work when he heard a sound from the side of the road. It wasn't loud, just enough to make him turn and look. That's when he noticed a figure in the distance. At first, it was hard to understand what he was looking at. The shape looked like something crouched low, but still standing on two legs. It didn't move. It didn't react. It just stayed there in that same position. The man kept watching for a few seconds, trying to make sense of it, but nothing changed. And honestly, that's what made it worse. Whatever it wasn't behaving like anything normal. Face at the window. One night, a woman looked out her window and saw something she wasn't expecting. Right up against the glass, there was a figure standing there. Its face was close enough to be clear, and its eyes, they glowed in a way that didn't feel natural. The rest of its body looked human at first, but the proportions felt off, like something wasn't quite right. It didn't knock, it didn't move, it just stood there, staring straight inside. She didn't open the window or make a sound. Creepy TikTok video. The video started like a normal TikTok, a cheerful girl standing near some trees, smiling and making a small gesture. But as she stepped back toward the trees, something faint appeared in the background. Between the branches, a shadowy shape emerged, and its face looked unsettling compared to the girl's playful expression. That small detail shifted the whole scene, turning a lighthearted moment into something quietly disturbing. For anyone watching, it was impossible to ignore. Something wasn't right. Living room shadow. A security camera recorded a quiet living room. A woman sat on the couch while her dog stayed close. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but then a dark shape zipped across the room, almost as if it passed through the wall. The dog jumped back and bolted out of view. The woman didn't notice a thing. Watching the footage later, that quick, strange movement in the hallway was the only unusual moment in the whole recording. Hallway stare. Late at night, a hostile hallway in India became the setting for something strange. A girl stood in the corridor, completely still, while her friends called for her to come back. She didn't respond. Her unnervingly wide smile stayed fixed under the dim lights. According to her roommates, this wasn't the first time she had behaved this way, but no one could explain why. The cause of her strange behavior remained a mystery, leaving everyone unsettled. The floating shadow. It was a quiet night in California until a home security camera captured something that defied explanation. A shadowy, humanoid figure drifted across the driveway, moving so smoothly it almost seemed to float. Seconds later, it disappeared without a trace. Watching the footage again didn't make it feel any more real. The figure's movement was impossible, leaving the homeowner baffled and questioning what had passed by their home. Scary mirror clip. Most people have heard the warning about placing two mirrors across from each other. One man ignored it. In his room, two mirrors faced one another, creating an endless reflection. One day, he noticed something in the dresser mirror that wasn't actually in the room. Too afraid to step inside, he stayed in the doorway and started recording. In the reflection, a dark face appeared, framed by long, tangled hair. It wasn't standing where any person should have been. The figure seemed to stare directly back through the mirror. The man believed he had captured something demonic. Do you agree with him? Comment below. Traumatizing witch. A man was riding his bike home late at night in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, when he saw a strange figure standing in the middle of the road. He stopped and got off the bike to see what it was, but before he could get a clear look, the figure vanished. Shocked, he stood there for a moment, trying to understand what had happened. After a moment, the same figure appeared again on the road. This time, it was dressed in white, with long black hair covering its face. Terrified, the man didn't wait any longer, left his bike there, and ran away on foot. Ghost on street. One night, in a quiet street in Patna, India, a dog was lying calmly in the middle of the road when suddenly it sensed something we couldn't see. It stood up, fixed its gaze on something ahead, and slowly began to move away, as if something invisible was coming toward it. Then, on the footage, a dark shadow appeared. It moved like a human, but its body was made of thick, black smoke. When the video was posted online, many were convinced the camera had captured a real ghost walking through the street. Ghost in cemetery. A security guard was on his night shift at a cemetery in Penang, Malaysia, when he saw a terrifying figure dressed in white with messy hair walking between the graves. Out of curiosity, he ran toward it, but the figure vanished among the tombstones. After a while, the beam of his flashlight caught the same figure standing at a distance. He rushed toward it again, only to find nothing there. Terrified by the sight, he became convinced it was a witch. Witch inside church. People in Ohrid, Macedonia had been reporting hollering sounds coming from the neighboring church at night. Curious, the church guard decided to review the CCTV footage. What he saw left him shocked. A pale figure dressed in white, with long black hair, standing motionless inside the church, looking like a witch. The figure appeared for only a few seconds, then suddenly vanished, leaving behind nothing but a faint mist. Triple threat. Past midnight, a driver got into his truck to make a delivery in Balanga, Philippines, when he experienced an eerie moment. As he was reversing, he saw three blurry figures moving in front of the truck, as if they were pushing it backward. He stopped to see what the figures actually were, but before he could get out, they vanished. When he later watched the footage with other staff members, they became convinced that the figures were three witches from the stories their ancestors used to tell. Mysterious footage. One late night in Jaipur, a woman was walking home from the office when she suddenly felt someone behind her. The street was almost empty, yet the feeling of being followed grew stronger with every step, and she began to run, looking back again and again, but saw no one. At home, she told her husband, and they checked the street CCTV footage and left stunned to see a strange figure appear on the road, standing motionless and staring at her. They wondered if it was a thief silently following her in the dark. Glitch or ghost? On a routine night in Bude Town Centre, UK, a security guard was reviewing the office's CCTV footage when he noticed something unsettling. A strange figure appeared out of nowhere and began walking through the parking lot toward a car. On camera, it looked blurry, as if it were some kind of supernatural being. The figure opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. The guard later uploaded the clip to YouTube, convinced he had captured a ghost. But viewers dismissed it as a hoax, suggesting it was just a trick of the light and pointing out that no real ghost should cast a shadow. Nightcrawler caught. One night, a security guard was casually reviewing CCTV footage of the park in Fresno, California, and was left shocked to see what appeared on the screen. A strange figure moved slowly through the darkness. The figure had just a pair of legs, no head, no torso, no feet. It looked as if a ghost had slipped into a pair of pants and was wandering the park. Feared by the sight, the guard uploaded the clip to Instagram, asking viewers for answers, where one commenter identified it as Fresno Nightcrawler. Creepiest ghost. A group of friends was waiting for their night class at an Islamic school in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, when something strange passed beside them. A figure wearing a cap like the other students, but on the CCTV footage, its legs were missing. It looked as if the upper body was gliding through the air. At first, no one took it seriously when one of the friends pointed it out, but after a while, they panicked and ran to tell the security guard. After watching the footage, they became convinced it might be the ghost of a student. Spirit of patient. Nurse was on her night shift in a hospital in Bandung, Indonesia, when she heard a strange sound coming from a storage room. She followed the sound and was stunned to see a strange figure peeking from inside. She froze in place as the figure first slipped back into the room, then emerged again and vanished, as if it was not even there. Later, she claimed that it might have been the restless soul of a doctor who had ended his own life in the hospital. Ghost pulled her. In this unsettling clip, a female employee was working at her desk when her hair suddenly moved on its own. She looked around, confused, but no one was there. The camera caught it clearly. Her hair shifted like something invisible had touched it. After the video circulated, other employees shared similar experiences too. What about you? If you've had similar experiences or know of one, do share it in the comments section below. Haunted cafe. A female worker was cleaning the floor inside a cafe in Merida, Mexico, when a strange moment was caught on the CCTV camera. As she left the area, the wet floor caution sign suddenly moved on its own. After a while, she returned to clean the washroom, but was shocked to see the caution sign dropping to the floor. Then the manager came to inspect how well the cleaning had been done, and the threaded mop leaning against the wall suddenly fell to the ground. Sensing that something was not right, the manager quickly left the area because he had been hearing creepy reports from the staff for some time, but he never believed them until this happened. Ghost holds a grudge. On the 6th of September, 2017, a strange incident took place in Canberra, Australia. After throwing pebbles down a flight of stairs, two brothers were going out for dinner when a dark shadow suddenly appeared in front of them and leapt toward one of the brothers. He collapsed on the ground, but his brother managed to pull him away from the shadow, and they both rushed back to their apartment in fear. The shadow lingered there for a few seconds and then vanished into thin air. This is what happens when a ghost holds a grudge. Hanging figure. A man was driving home through a quiet road in Dawsonville, Georgia, when he witnessed something deeply unsettling. Hanging in midair was a strange figure with no upper body, only the lower half, suspended without support. He had taken this route countless times before, yet this was the first time he had ever seen anything like it. Shaken, he immediately called 911. But before the police arrived, the figure vanished without leaving a trace. Shadowy humanoid. This CCTV footage went viral back in 2013 and left viewers stunned. The video shows a man dressed in black walking through a hotel lobby late at night. Suddenly, he drops low to the ground, reacting to a mysterious black shadow that appears in front of him. The shadow grabs his leg and drags him several feet across the floor before vanishing into thin air. The man quickly sped out of the place in shock and left, wondering for days what he encountered that day. Mysterious entity. One night in El Paso, Texas, a man was alone at home when he heard a loud banging sound at his window. When he looked up, he was shocked to see a strange figure outside the window. It had a pale face and long hair, moving its head in an erratic way. Out of panic, the man rushed outside to check, but there was nothing at all. The figure had vanished, leaving him alone with the fear of something paranormal, which comes knocking. A doorbell camera in a quiet village in Indonesia recorded something that didn't sit right. Late at night, a woman slowly stepped into view. Her hair looked uneven, almost tangled, and her face appeared dirty in a way that didn't look natural. Even her nails and the slight curve of her smile felt off, like details that didn't belong together. She stood there for a few seconds, staring directly into the camera without moving. Then, just as slowly, she turned and walked away into the darkness. Creepy encounter. It started as a quiet night, the kind where nothing unusual ever happens. Then, the doorbell camera activated. 3 masked figures stood outside, dressed in identical jumpsuits, calling out and testing the doors like they already knew someone was inside. They didn't rush, they didn't panic. They stayed there, repeating the same behavior, almost like they were waiting for a response. The woman inside didn't move and didn't open the door. Eventually, they left. They weren't trying to break in, but trying to draw her out.
From the back of the front, it don't matter how. Open the door!
Mysterious humanoid rain covered the camera lens as the doorbell picked up movement outside. A man stood on the porch, completely still, while a dog barked non-stop from inside the house. He wore a long, unnatural-looking cloak that hung lower than it should, hiding most of his body. But it wasn't just what he wore. Something about the way he stood there felt wrong, like he didn't belong in that moment at all. When the footage was shared online, people tried to explain it away, but I haven't seen any good explanation. However, if you have it, then share them in the comments below. Very eerie entity. In Bandung, Indonesia, 2 friends were riding late at night for fun when they noticed a woman in the distance, thinking they could mess around with her, maybe even scare her, but turns out she was far from human. Her skin looked grotesque, and her lips were dark. Her eyes were pure white as she stared straight at them, a sight so terrifying it made them scream and speed away as fast as they could. And now, let's move on to the subscriber's pick. It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon in a backyard in Asheville, North Carolina on 26 March 2026. Mario's neighbors warned him, pointing to a jagged hole in the wooden fence. "Don't go near that," they said. They spoke of a cat that liked to hide there, but no one really knew what it was. Curious and a little too confident, Mario decided to take a closer look. Suddenly, the cat wasn't a cat at all. A huge animal, like a skinwalker, came through the fence with terrifying speed. It barreled toward Mario, tackling him to the ground. Mario scrambled across the grass, dodging the massive creature. It looked like Mario was taken away, but the last angle of the video shows him he was fine, but definitely whiplashed. In a rural village in Karnataka, India, residents chose to confront a strange intruder that had plagued them for nights instead of hiding indoors. Livestock and chickens had been disappearing, and many claimed to glimpse a gaunt, witch-like figure slipping through the dark. The villagers laid baited traps around the outskirts, hoping to catch whatever was responsible. One device, set inside an unfinished house, finally snared the prowler. When they gathered to see it, they faced something unsettling, an emaciated form that looked partly human, partly animal. Yet before anyone could study it closely, the captive broke free and vanished, leaving only confusion behind.